The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. That's correct, and it is show number 550. That's right, 550 weekends. We are here bringing tremendous information with awesome guests all the time, and today is no different. As we begin the show, we're going to start off with the chairman of HAR. That's the Houston Association of Realtors. His name is Shay Cotter. Shay, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Well, here you are, Shay. First of all, let's tell people, those, let's say, especially outside of Houston, HAR, let's tell people about HAR and what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you. HAR, Houston Association of Realtors, also known as homesandrentals.com. We are the largest portal in the Houston area for homes and rentals, and we are actually the number one portal for people looking for homes in the Houston area. It's the only market in the entire U.S. where the national number one is actually number two, because we're number one here. So I like to brag about that.
Indeed, and we do get recognition. HAR gets recognition all over the United States, no doubt about it, because you're doing things in a tremendous way, and especially now that you are the chair, it's gonna be extra awesome. So let's tell people, as far as what inspired you to be a part of HAR to begin with.
So that's an interesting question. I'm actually a second-generation realtor. My mom was a broker for 40-plus years in the Houston area here. She was involved in HAR. In fact, before HAR consolidated into the association that it is now, we had several associations around the Houston area. At one point, I think back in the late 80s, early 90s even maybe, my mom was the chair of the Bay Area Association of Realtors. So I was raised in the association, sort of raised in the industry, swore it was the last thing I would ever do. And that did not work out so well for me, as you can tell. I'm right here. But it's an incredible industry. It's an incredible association. And I think one of the things that we were talking about before the show started was, the fact that I've been involved in the industry and volunteering in the industry all along about the same time. I think I entered the industry volunteering because of my mom's influence. And it's just been a really good industry to give back to.
And it is interesting because we see it many times, and that is when someone's relative, parent, has been in real estate. There is something about real estate that gets in our blood, and it's a kind of a common story. It's fascinating how that works out.
Yeah, I think the common thing I keep hearing, and once upon a time I was also an instructor at HAR, and so when I would teach in classes, I would always ask agents, especially newly licensed agents, what brought you into this industry? And 10 out of 10, the answer was always, I just love helping people.
It is a common answer. There's no question about it. And once again, HAR, you are the chairman. That's a big job. In addition, you're with a company, LPT Realty, as well. Right. But as far as, let's give people an impression of the size of and the responsibilities, because there's how many realtors attached to HAR here in Houston, Texas, our fourth largest city?
51,000.
51,000.
We are the second largest real estate association in the U.S.
That's amazing.
Local real estate association.
So, and as the chairman, what are your responsibilities right here for this year?
Everything.
And then how do you get everything done?
Well, so, responsibilities of the chair are basically to make sure that the organization is moving the right direction, make sure the budget is working correctly, make sure everybody's getting along. I think right now, one of the big things that we've really got on our plate is, navigating this new landscape that we've got post the settlement, post all the regulatory changes here in Texas. Staying on top of that is a lot already, but it is such a passion of mine because I want to make sure this is something we get right. We've got to get this right.
There are so many new things this year that are part of the dynamic.
Yeah.
So that is fascinating. But as far as when we think about, are there specific goals that you have that when you all get together and have meetings and you say, okay, our goals for maybe this quarter or this year, give us a glimpse into some of the goals that you all talk about and are going to be planning.
Sure. We're rolling out and working on some new tools all the time, tools to make our agents better equipped, to help inform them, to help make their job easier. I think some of our goals this year, besides rolling out some of those tools, obviously there's the regulatory stuff to continue to stay on top of. We've got to make sure that our data has integrity. People a lot of times don't understand how the syndication of data works from our site. And we've got to make sure that what we're sharing, especially now that AI is out there harvesting things, and we have to make sure that our syndicators aren't allowing AI to harvest the information that we're sending out, because we've got to protect our data. So there's a lot on the table besides just the regulatory and everything. It's a whole mess. Not a bad mess. It's a whole mess of things.
Data is so important. And one of the things is, as you mentioned data, I think about how powerful the website is and also the app, HAR.com. So if you're listening right here in Houston, you may already know about it. If you're a real estate professional, if you're in another state, go to the app, HAR.com. It's a tremendous wealth of information in terms of the listings, the rentals that are there. And of course, the beauty of the app is as you're driving around Houston, you could take the app and just press it and see the listings that are right nearby where you are in your car or walking around. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Another tool that we just launched that I thought was really fantastic. One of the biggest issues that we're facing right now is an affordability crisis. And we have worked for years to build assistance tools for those affordability struggles. Specifically, if consumers want to go to HAR.com/down payment, we've got an entire site built to navigate and to help navigate those affordability issues. And just to kind of give you an idea, I think right now about 91% of all of our listings are available to have down payment assistance or some other sort of affordability assistance. 91%.
Well, I think there's people out there, buyers and sellers alike, that aren't aware of all the tools that are available. Certainly the real estate professional is a massive tool as they buy and sell, but HAR, you have these tools.
Yeah. I mean, you ask about our goals, and I think, more than anything, we have to make sure that we're helping our agents, helping our members, right? Equipping our members, giving our members everything that they need to succeed. But also we've got to be a good community partner as well. And we've got to be out there helping our communities understand the struggles, helping them navigate those struggles. People feel so alone and they just need to know they're not.
What are some of the things in terms of challenges that you hear even prior to your role as the HAR chair? Because you're out there in the community with LPT Realty and you've been a real estate professional. But what are some of the things that realtors talk to you about that are their main concerns? Yeah, as far as buyers right now, the affordability, that's a concern, I think. But what are the other things that you hear a lot?
I think agents just want to make sure that they are being supported. I think that's the biggest issue right now that I hear over and over and over. Agents just really want to feel supported, and they want to make sure that they're not, struggling in a way that's not seen and not helped by either their broker, their association, their peers. I read a book just this last month, Belonging. And I thought that it was this quote in it that was incredible in the very beginning, and it was that belonging isn't a symbol of success. Belonging is a prerequisite for success. And I think giving a place for our agents to really belong and have those connections really helps set them up for success so much better.
And Shay, as a realtor, let's tell people a little bit about what you're doing with LPT Realty.
I came to this company about 6 or 7 months ago as the designated broker for Texas, and I'm still the broker for Texas, but I'm also now their regional director for about 6 or 7 states. And one of the things that I really love about what we're able to do in this environment, it's a cloud brokerage. I talk to agents all over the state, and we've got about 1,600 agents here in Texas. One of the things that I really, really love is the ability, like I've been talking about, to really help those agents feel connected, to help them feel equipped, to help them feel engaged. In our industry, there's like a chain of events, right? When I was an agent, my consumers, my clients were the people that I really cared about, that I wanted to make sure they had my undivided attention. They were the people I was there to support. Those buyers and sellers. And when I got my broker's license, those agents became my clients at that point. I wanted to make sure that my agents were the ones that were the most taken care of, not just my buyers or sellers, but those agents. And being in this new environment with LPT and being able to really support those agents and help them throughout the state, it's a really huge honor. And to help them navigate this intersection of our industry right now is really important.
LPT. What does that stand for?
Listing Pro Tools.
Listing Pro Tools. Now, also, you're, to say the least, very busy. Just the real estate professional element is one thing. Chair of HAR, right. 51,000 members, right?
Right.
So we talk about balance. We think all of us have some kind of a balance challenge and so forth. But how do you stay organized? Give us, for all of us out there, whatever our profession is, give us an idea or two about staying organized.
So a couple of things about staying organized. The biggest step for me was consolidating my calendars. I don't know about y'all, but it's so easy to have 3 or 4 different calendars everywhere. And consolidating everything down to one calendar was my first step. I was a little bit late to that game. I'm a late bloomer sometimes, but consolidating all that on one calendar was the big step. Number 2, honestly, building in empty spaces is one of the biggest keys, in my opinion. Building in empty spaces, because life happens, and especially in real estate, things are going to change constantly. And if you have to move something to focus on an important issue that just popped up, you better have some free space to move it to, or you're going to be cramped. And I think you have to build in those free spaces. That's been imperative for me.
Sounds awesome. Shay, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
HAR.com is just the resource for our consumers, for our agents, for anybody in the area. Please let me know if there's anything I can do. If you're an agent and you've got questions about HAR, please reach out to me. I'm happy to be your point of contact. And if you're a consumer and you've got questions, please reach out as well.
Reach out to Shay Cotter. How can they do that, Shay?
Shay.cotter@har.com. 832-597-5384. 832-597-5384.
Shay, thanks for being with us.
You bet. Thank you so much.
As we continue, let's talk to Lisa Curris. She is the broker owner of the Real Estate Connection. With her is Ronnie Orman. He is a realtor with the Real Estate Connection. Hey, guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us, Bill. It's great to see you again.
It's awesome, Ronnie. It's good to see you for the first time right here on Real Estate Matters.
I am honored to be here, Bill, especially on this number 550th show of yours. That is fantastic.
It is amazing, and the time flies, and so much great information. Awesome guests like yourself abound each week. But Lisa, let's tell people, first of all, about your company, the Real Estate Connection.
Yes, Real Estate Connection International was founded by myself in 1990 as a residential commercial property management. And, Today we're going to talk about commercial, and I love being here and sharing with the community what we do. We hold a 5-star rating with the company all the way for 35 years, so we're very proud of that. We've been written up in MSNBC, Fox News, Reuters, as well as Houston Business Journal. And so I brought Ronnie with me today. He's our commercial division project analyst and also lead agent, and he's worked side by side with me, Bill, since 2021. And when people think about what's commercial real estate, then you realize it's sales and leasing, could be retail, which is a shopping center, multifamily, which is apartments, as well as industrial and land in the commercial end. And we were on your show back in March of 2021 talking about international, as I'm the former world president of the International Real Estate Federation, FIOPSI, and we talked about residential. So today we wanted to just talk about the commercial end. I'm going to let Ronnie go into that a little more. But what's exciting, we've sold a castle, we've sold a hospital, we've sold all types of medical buildings and land for commercial application.
And that was just on Monday. That's incredible properties, it sounds like, Lisa.
It's exciting. I laugh because a friend of mine calls in the morning and says, "Did you sell a house yet today?" So, Ronnie, tell us a little bit about what's different from residential and commercial. For the audience, a lot of times is keying in on residential.
Well, let me tell you, commercial real estate is extremely different from residential. One, the commercial real estate transactions, they have increased complexities out there. They have extensive due diligence that must be done by the actual agents and brokers out there. There are tremendous legal considerations for these properties as well. Not to mention the length of the sale is several months to years for commercial properties, whereas with residential can be 1 to 2 months. And also the building class, if you're selling buildings, the class of the building, A, B, or C, has a tremendous impact there as well. And understanding the different types of leases, if you're going to do leasing, there are just a multitude of leases out there. But the more you understand triple net, the better you'll be in the lease world out there. It's really amazing.
And Ronnie, give us an idea for those, as there are so many different things going on in Houston, so many economic drivers. What is the state of the commercial market right now in Houston?
Houston is very fortunate. We're one of the top cities in the United States right now that's showing positive growth out there in a lot of different sectors in commercial real estate. Dallas, Austin being those, and Phoenix, Arizona as well. Houston having the giant aerospace and energy sectors out here are tremendous growth factors for us. And not to mention the Port of Houston, the absolute busiest port in the world out there in the United States for sure, #1 in tonnage. So that helps bring a tremendous amount of business into us. Matter of fact, I read just this morning, the Houston Economic Partnership predicts over 71,000 new hires will take place in the year 2025. And what people are going to need for that.
In Houston.
In the Houston area. That is exactly right.
Wow.
That is tremendous. And the big growth sectors are going to be healthcare, or one, the technology and the aerospace. I know down south in the League City area, Webster area, Clear Lake area, space-oriented businesses are growing by leaps and bounds out there. So it's a tremendous time to be in commercial real estate in the Houston area here.
We're talking with Lisa Curris and Ronnie Orman with the Real Estate Connection International. What are some of the other things we should know, Lisa?
Well, I think one of the things that we really we love the fact that our agents we call them kingdom agents. Real estate is what we do, but Christians is who we are, and we honor God in everything we do. We start all our meetings, we lead off in prayer. And that's something I think is really a little unusual to be so vocal about. And we have 12 agents in the company, and we're growing still. But I think in commercial real estate, when we list a property, I wanted to talk about the things that we do kind of step by step. And one of the things we do is we always ask them to get an appraisal. We ask for an appraisal on the property because it helps us. It's not like a residential appraisal and the whole neighborhood as houses are similar next to each other. When you have commercial property, it's so different. And so we ask them to acquire an appraisal to help us with the pricing of it. And then the next step we do is we visit the Economic Development Corporation in that city because the zoning is different. We want to know what its permitted use is. Like Ronnie says, there's so many different things that we have to, that impact the land. The flood zones, the regulations, whether there's utilities on the property. There's just so many things. And another key factor of visiting with the economic development people is that we want to know, is there any grant money or maybe some incentive money that we can provide to investors and buyers? Because the cities, what are they doing to bring their tax dollars to the city? That's what the cities really want to know. And we want to work hand in hand with the economic development people because in this case, they are, we want to market toward what the cities are looking for because that helps us a lot.
Well, give us an idea also, and you also do residential real estate
Yes,
as
sir.
well, but when we think of real estate in general, the relationship between residential, because there's a powerful relationship, those dynamics are go hand in hand, and commercial real estate, so both of them react to the other in certain ways. Say that in a better way, if you would, Ronnie. Explain that.
One thing that we look at, and this is why we go to the EDCs for these particular cities, is they can tell us the medium household income in a particular area. And this is important to businesses that want to move into that area. They want to know that the people can afford their businesses out there. So that's very important to see that. The number of people that are there, the types of schools, how the schools are rated, the amount of shopping. As a matter of fact, one thing that we also look at is the insurance. The cost of the insurance for a lot of the commercial properties will depend upon the fire departments and first responders out there. What they have in place and how quick they are to respond will actually reduce a business owner's insurance in those particular areas.
I think another point to add is that, it's very important for the residential realtors to understand what's coming to the area in the very near neighborhoods, what restaurants are coming in, what types of amenities and features that the cities have to offer so that they can let their clients know that they're selling homes to, this is what's happening in this area.
It's so important when we talk to real estate professionals about a given area as we're looking at homes, land, or whatever else. And I know myself when I've looked at properties, and I do on a regular basis for a variety of reasons, and that is when they say, because we could already see what's there if we're looking at a property or home or something, but it's always great to hear the insight to know about the real estate professional and also to know what's coming down the road because there's so many new, especially in Houston, because there's, I would think more than maybe many other places, there's more stuff coming here or going to be happening than leaving here.
Yes, exactly.
Like maybe other places.
Without a doubt.
Yes,
Without
exactly.
And that's another reason why we talk to these municipalities because they know these big projects that are coming into their cities right now. So it's very key that we get out front of these organizations there to get these investors in there. Which, matter of fact, one of the ways that we market properties is through HAR. HAR and the Commercial Gateway. They have a commercial side to HAR out there. So we utilize them as one of our marketing sites there. Crexi is another commercial exchange, and LoopNet CoStar are others. These have just tremendous worldwide reach out there for buyers and investors for commercial properties.
No doubt about it.
And another place that we market is BayCren, which is the Bay Area Commercial Real Estate Network, where we bring our properties there. We transact properties together. We've sold a lot of properties with other professional commercial brokers. And then, they have educational classes as well as, they get together for happy hours or, just various ways that have speakers that are fantastic to educate us just what you're talking about, what's coming to the area. We have the various economic development directors come to tell us what they're doing in their city, which is I think is really a plus.
Well, one thing about Real Estate Connection International is the way that we do business. We're not transactional out there at all. We build on relationships. So we are detailed oriented. We don't just put a sign out on a property and forget it. How many times have you gone by a commercial property, seen that sign, it's starting to fade and everything? We actually have regular scheduled meetings with our sellers and our investors. We talk about them. We keep detailed accounts of everything, everybody that opens up a flyer, that downloads the website, or anything along those lines. We track that.
Ronnie, how can people reach you? Ronnie Orman.
My number is 281-924-0171. 281-924-0171.
And Lisa, what else should we know?
Well, I think one thing I'd like to touch on is us investing in the community, our generosity given back to our clients, as well as the parts around the world. I'm the vice chair of Relief Network Ministries, where we've just now are close to 1,600 water wells that we've drilled in Africa and India to bring clean water as well as the living water. And also all of our agents adopt residents of an assisted living who have no one to visit them. At Christmas time, we adopt them, and our client events, Mother's Day, Father's Day, ice cream events, our gratitude gathering, just a multitude of ways we give back.
And Lisa, how can people reach you?
713-598-8868. 713-598-8868. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Let's talk to Ashley Boudreau. She is with Coldwell Bankers. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, here you are. First of all, Ashley, let's tell people about your Coldwell Bankers location.
So I am actually in our Cypress location is where I office out of, but I do business all over the city. Yeah.
Well, when we think about Cypress, and let's, as far as we're talking geography for a second, let's take your last, whether it's buyers or sellers, your last 10 or so, 15 transactions. Geographically, where have you been most of those in this last 15 or so?
I would say split between, I do a lot in the Conroe, Magnolia corridor, and I do a lot in the Cypress corridor. I come from a new construction background, so my clientele is a little bit kind of painted everywhere, but those are probably my two most common on my most recent transactions.
We think about it, and also those listening outside of Houston, those are very fast growing, and when we think about things coming to different areas, I mean, Conroe, Magnolia, Cypress, it's kind of exploding. Give us an idea what's happening there in real estate.
Absolutely. Everywhere I feel like is busting at the seams, right? So, all of the little towns in between are where the developments and things like that are coming up. One of a cool one up in Magnolia that I've got my eye on that I'm super excited, supposed to be opening up in spring, is called Two Step Farm. It's a new little development out there. It's going to be pretty cool. They've got like goats, and they've got a dance hall and some really cool different things that you don't see in your everyday community. And
And when you said two-stepped, I was going to ask about dancing, but you brought that forth without even asking.
It's so cool.
There's going to be some movement going on.
Absolutely. They've got an on-site dance hall, which is, I'm super stoked to see whenever they let us in there to get the kind of scoop and the
And you think that would be enough, but goats also.
Yeah. I'm an animal lover, so, you had me at goats. I can go play with some goats, pet some goats, all that. Yeah.
It's awesome. So is this going to be a development with new homes?
It's a brand new home development in Montgomery, actually. It's in that Magnolia-Montgomery corridor, and it's a pretty good one. So I've got my eye on that one for some clients.
And at what stage of development are they in right now? Are their homes ready to go? Or
No,
this is
they
down
are
the road?
still paving streets and things like that. They are supposed to have their grand opening or a realtor sneak peek coming in the spring. So kind of still to be determined.
So as we said, a lot of things going on, no doubt about it. But when we think about the Magnolia area, right? Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that draw people to Magnolia? And again, if you're not familiar, what would he say? That's northwest Magnolia?
Yeah, it's right. It's just north of the Woodlands. I think one of the biggest attractive things of Magnolia-Montgomery corridor is the fact that you are so close to the city amenities. You're very close to all of the conveniences, but it's still a little bit more of that country laid-back living. You still can have that country feel, a little bit more land. You've got some acreage communities out there. If that's your thing, you can also be straight in a master planned community. There's lots of different avenues out there, and there's still room for growth. There's
So it sounds like if someone wants a little elbow room, would they be able to find that with you there, Ashley?
Absolutely, for sure.
So you can help them find a place.
100%.
And right now, again, last 15 or so transactions, have you been helping more buyers or sellers, or is it 50-50?
I've had more buyers than I have had sellers in my last 10 or 15 or so transactions, but obviously I will help whoever,
And when you're helping buyers here in the last couple months or so, how often are you running into the cash buyer?
Honestly and truthfully, surprisingly, it's way more often than what you would expect. I'd probably say about 50-50 in my personal experience from financing to cash buyers. It really just depends on a lot of relocation buyers that are coming in from different states and stuff like that are oftentimes cash. But it just depends on the circumstance.
And are you helping a lot of people in relocation that are coming in?
I try to stay pretty active on my social media and stuff. So I do get clients that are relocation from different states and things like that, and referrals and things from friends and such. But yeah, I try to.
Other than California, because I have a feeling you might have said California like everybody else in the last 550, well, actually the last 150 shows. But anyway, other than California, where are you finding people that reach out to you and they say, hey, Ashley, I've seen you on social media, and can you help me with some properties or what? What
So,
other
I've
states?
had I've had a couple of clients from the Washington State kind of area. And then I've had some East Coast clients coming from like the New York area and things like that as well. So, Florida on the southeast, side.
Well, it's good to hear that. Other than, it's great to have Californias. And,
Yeah, there's a lot of California,
in fact,
for sure. Yeah.
Probably more here with fires that they may want to leave that environment.
that's so
but
sad.
it's nice to hear Washington State, because I was just in Washington State almost a year ago, or a little less than a year ago, and it's a very interesting, a beautiful place, the places I was at. So actually people are reaching out and they say, hey, I want to come down there to Houston.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it's work, work's moving me here or what have you, all different circumstances, but for sure.
Because these two states, Texas and Washington State, are two that do not have the state income tax out of, I think, about 7 or so. So that's a nice little thing as well. So in the meantime, also the East Coast, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
What state in the East Coast have you helped?
I've
people?
had New York. I've had a couple from New York. I had a South Carolina relocation.
Super awesome.
Yeah.
So now you could be doing a lot of things, Ashley Boudreau. You're doing tremendous work here in real estate. I've heard about you for a long time now. But what is it about real estate that attracted you to begin with?
So I came from the restaurant industry, was where I kind of grew up into and things like that. So people has always been my thing. And I would say helping people is probably a very common answer that you get. And that is mine. I've always said if I could make a living off of just helping people and doing that, then I would be a happy gal. So real estate is one avenue that allows me to kind of give back, help, and all of those good things.
And as you look ahead here, we're already well into 2025. It's pretty exciting so far, and a lot of things going on. It's going by, right? Yeah. So as you look ahead and you plan, and what am I going to do next? How am I going to do things maybe a little differently? What are some of the things you're thinking about, and what are you expecting for this 2025?
I'm excited for 2025. There's lots of different things going on out there, from a new construction perspective, development perspectives, things like that. I have clients in the residential and the commercial world, so I'm just excited to see, all of the different avenues that this year kind of brings for me personally. I've got, some exciting stuff.
So a lot of stuff going on, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
So let's take the seller, for example. If you were in any of the markets that you're in, and even Cyprus, if someone says, hey, Ashley, I want to list my home, how do you prepare in this current market with all the dynamics that are happening, interest rates and different things? How are you preparing the seller right now at a listing appointment when they say, oh, how long is it going to take, Ashley, to sell the house? What should I expect? I haven't sold I've been in this home 10 years. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you coach that person? Because there's a lot of psychology and
100%.
good hard facts that we have to
I was going to say, there's a lot of psychology in the selling end of things, right? So you really kind of have to get to the meat of where their motivations are coming from, right? Like, why are we selling? So I think that's the first kind of layer of the onion to peel back, if you will, is, why are we selling? And then whenever it gets down to like how, do you have a price in mind? You know what I mean? Before I even start talking about anything on a price point perspective or going in like that, I want to know what my seller's motivations are. What are their expectations for their home? Like you said, some people have been in their home for 5 years and they're just ready to get out because business is moving them on to the next place. But then there's people that have been in their home for 35 years, and there's so much emotional attachment and things like that. And it's difficult for some people to want to let go of a home. So there's a lot of different layers of the onion you kind of have to peel back whenever it comes to a listing. And it's very client specific because every person's different. So it's kind of like, back in the restaurant industry days, right? It's a management of personalities. You're not doing the same thing for Joe as you're necessarily doing for Jim because they are two totally different people and have different motivations and things that they may need. So it's really a matter of getting to know your seller. But as far as like pricing and things like that, it's really going to go down to what's selling around you, right? I'm an expectation setter. I don't want to come in and fluff you and give you, oh, hey, I can sell it for the highest price. I want to set a realistic expectation with you and give you the proof in the pudding, right? And say, hey, this is what's selling around you, and kind of take it from there.
There's so many things that make the real estate profession and the transaction so interesting because you're saying about different people. You have families, you have upsizing, downsizing, you have kids, you don't have kids, you've got to move.
Absolutely.
You got to
I don't want to be near kids. I want to be around kids,
It's so so to say it's never boring, right? We've established it is never boring. That's probably one of the things you and the other 50,000 realtors enjoy.
For sure. Keeps you on your toes.
No doubt about it. And then there's the goats, right?
Yeah. Goats.
So you love animals. So when you're not in the real estate world, if you take off your real estate howdy darling hat, people, if they tune into the YouTube video at stewart.com/radio, they could see your hat and it says howdy darling.
It does.
But when you're not in the real estate world, Ashley, what are the things that you do to unwind or to relax?
So I have a 9-year-old daughter. So she is my world and what I spend most of my time with. Softballs takes up most of our weekends. But I'm a crafter. I'm a busybody. I do better when I'm moving and shaking and going. So if I'm not doing something in the real estate world, I'm usually making hats. Like you see on my head. This is my mood this morning. Yeah, this is my mood this morning. So we put it together with the outfit and ta-da, here we are.
So do you make hats for men as well?
I do. I make hats for men, for women. If you have a thought bubble, I can put it on a shirt, hat, you name it.
Yeah, I like hats.
I can create it for you. I love a good hat.
No doubt about it.
I'm your hat gal. So.
Well, it's nice to make that connection so early on in 2025 because I need a hat.
If you're a buyer or a seller anywhere in Houston area, from Magnolia to Cypress to Bayou Vista, better call Boudreaux. I would love to help you.
There you go. Better call Boudreaux. Call Ashley Boudreaux. And what's the phone number, Ashley?
I am 469-879-1907. 469-879-1907.
And thanks for being with us, Ashley.
Thank you.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance, with a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers. Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is with Stewart Insurance, John Bramlett.
Howdy, Bill.
Here we are, John.
Always a pleasure.
So many things have happened since we were together last. I mean, snow days and everything. It's been fascinating.
It's glad to be back in studio, though.
We're back in the studio with dynamic. You know what they say, John, when it was snowing? I was thinking there's no business like snow business. Did you ever hear that saying?
I've never heard that, but I'm sure that now that you've shared it, it'll become quite popular.
People want to know about insurance. It's a fact of life and a fascinating one at that. What have you brought for us today?
I'd like to play off a little bit of what Shay had shared earlier, and this idea that agents want to be supported.
No doubt.
And that it's a critical element of any brokerage that they make sure that they're doing what they can to help their agents become successful.
Well, let's go.
And we've seen more and more of that trend in the industry. And I think one of the ways that we can help those brokers be successful and make sure that their agents feel supported is by offering up our continuing education classes to those agents and to those brokers, coming out to those brokerages offices, coming out to those offices and visiting with the agents and sharing those classes we have, and not only allowing them to get to maintain their continuing education requirements, but also provide them some tools that allow them to be more successful and more supportive of their clients.
That's right. Regular listeners will know that Stewart Insurance, and especially the work you're doing, John, Stewart Insurance is just another one, a very valuable resource in the real estate profession as you're helping people right here, brokers and Stewart Title, all of our offices, you're helping them in a tremendous way with this information and support.
So, yeah, we'd be happy and honored to be able to come out to a broker's office and provide them the continuing education that we offer. We've got 3 classes that, the feedback that we've received has always been positive, and that they are tools that allow realtors to do a better job in supporting, ultimately their clients. The first one is Real Estate Liability, Reduce Your Risks and Protect Your License, and that's a 3-hour course. And that's just a reminder to our realtors of the risks that they face every day. So we take a look at 8 specific risks that realtors face every day. We look at 7 different ways that they can minimize those risks, and we do so through a couple of different case studies. We spend some time looking at what risk is and what exposure is, provide the tools to minimize those risks, and then we talk a little bit about how we can offset that exposure through some business insurance products. So that's Real Estate Liability, and that's a 3-hour class. The 2 Sides of Water is a 2-hour class, and we spend the first half of that class talking about flood. And there is a specific definition of a flood, and that water damage needs to meet that definition in order for it to be considered a flood. So we speak about what a flood is, and then we look at the 2 different ways that folks can obtain flood insurance, whether it be through the National Flood Insurance Program or through private entities, and we look at the pros and the cons of each. So that's the first half of the class. The second half, we look at 4 different types of water damage that a home insurance policy might be able to cover. So we look at what those 4 are, what are the considerations, and then also take a look at some other elements within a home insurance policy that a home buyer or a homeowner ought to consider, or at least evaluate when they're evaluating that policy. So it provides some additional knowledge for our realtors to be able to share with their clients. And then the last class is Property Assurance Essentials for Real Estate Professionals. And it's critical that a realtor understands how their client's going to utilize a property, because that's going to drive the potential type of coverage that they would have. So we look at 6 different types of real estate property usage, everything from somebody's primary residence all the way to vacant land. And based upon how that property is going to be used, we look at different types of coverage that's available out there. So again, additional counsel that a realtor could provide to their clients.
And you've taught these classes so many times, I can imagine you do them in your sleep.
Well, I'm not that good yet, but each class is different. Each class is, the thing I like about them is they're very interactive. The people generally have an interest in them. So whether it be in a broker's office or in a Stewart Title office, or we have our friends from HAR here today, and we teach the classes online and Zoom with HAR. So it's like being in a classroom. We're just online, and we have the ability to offer the classes. If that's more convenient for our realtor listeners, we can do it through HAR at har.com/education.
Well, I guess the answer to the question I'm going to ask is going to be it depends on the crowd and so forth, but you'll get an idea what I'm saying is out of the 3 classes, and I know I've been at a couple of the classes, the 2 Sides of Water, but it's interactive. The realtors are asking questions, but either which class provokes the most questions, again, it depends, I know, but which one provokes the most questions and the most interesting questions?
Well, I think I think all 3 have those qualities. So the real estate liability class, the 8 risks that we go through are not surprising to folks. But what is a bit surprising is if somebody has gotten lax in maybe some of their disciplines, or lax in how they communicate, or lax in how they document, it's a nice kind of a kick to remind you, hey, this is a consideration I have. And a lot of times the questions are, well, around the fact that I've done everything that I need, so I don't need to worry. And many times the response is, you could be exactly right. You've done everything you can, and the claim or the lawsuit could be frivolous, but that doesn't mean somebody still can't file it. And if they file it, then defense costs are going to be needed. You're going to have an attorney to defend you. So understanding that it doesn't really matter, yes, it's important that you've done what you can do, but you can never completely eliminate a risk. But what we're trying to do then is minimize them, because people will make a claim based upon how they feel. And that's important. That's one of the things that's kind of the aha in that class. The two sides of water, I think the big one is truly understanding what a definition of the flood is. And then many times people aren't aware that there's an alternative to the National Flood Insurance Program. So being able to share the differences between those two, and I guess the other questions we get are in and around the fact that not every home insurance policy offers water damage, and they don't offer them at the same level. So being able to understand that. And then property insurance essentials, things like, well, if a home is vacant for a period of time, at some point that homeowner's insurance policy stops, and then they're going to need to have vacant coverage. Or the fact that even though I bought the home and I own the home, if it's not my primary residence, home insurance doesn't come into play, and that's where dwelling fire coverage would come into play. So the understanding that there are nuances where one policy will stop and another policy will start, those are a lot of the questions that come out in the property insurance essentials class.
I would also think in all the classes, if I'm sitting there as a real estate professional, I'm reminded of how important my position is, to where what I say can hurt myself and my business, but also that people are relying on what I say. Because I've even, not that long ago, I heard a realtor say, "Oh, you're not in a flood zone." Well, you would never want to say that.
No,
because especially here in Houston.
No, you're right. I mean, I think there's a couple of things that have happened. One, you're right. I mean, technically, if you can get flood coverage from the National Flood Insurance Program, they've designated they have a flood zone designated for your area. So it's not that you're not in a flood zone or you've never flooded. It's simply that you're in an area that might be more likely or less likely to flood. So that is important about how we talk about it. The other thing that was important, then again, I'll lean on what Shay had mentioned earlier, was this idea of with the changes that we've seen in the marketplace and some of the outcomes from the suit, there's going to be a greater expectation from the client's perspective of the value that they receive from a real estate professional. And those that have consistently shown and demonstrated their value, historically, they're not going to have a problem. But if you haven't, being able to obtain some continuing education that also provides you some nuggets that can help separate you in the marketplace is going to be critical going forward.
Always awesome stuff, John. I know after each segment, your phone probably rings off the hook. Let's tell people how they can reach you and Stewart Insurance.
They can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. They can learn more about us at stewartinsurance.com. And they can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
And if someone's in Washington State, John, what number should they call?
866-798-2827.
Thank you so much, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. I say it many times, our Stewart Title business development people are all over Houston, Texas to help you, and also the United States. Right now, we have Jana McGuire. Jana, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. How are you?
Doing good. Jana, let's tell people your office at Stewart Title.
So I'm Stewart Title in Clear Lake. We are off of Space Center Boulevard and Bay Area Boulevard, right next to the NASA Center, if you've heard of Space Center.
I think we have.
Space City.
In fact, another key economic driver, NASA and the space business right here in Houston, Texas, right?
That's right.
And a Stewart Title office.
Title. Yes.
So here we are at your office, Jana. Let's tell people, I know they want to bring their transaction right over there to the Space Center Boulevard. How can they reach you?
They can reach me at 832-244-3439. 832-244-3439.
Jana McGuire, and now going northwest-ish. Right, Hope? Is it northwest? Ish. Hope Moy is here. Hope, your offices are?
So my offices are Conroe and Magnolia in Montgomery County.
We heard a little bit about Magnolia right here on the show today.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
All the time.
Did Ashley make a hat for you yet?
I have lots of hats, actually.
Do you?
I do. She
Very
makes
nice.
A really great hat.
Well, we'll look forward to that at some point. But in the meantime, Hope, if someone wants to bring a real estate transaction to your office, what should they do?
So my Magnolia office is in off of 1488 and 2978, and my Conroe office is off of 336 and 105. I have some fantastic escrow officers that would love to work with you. So if there's anything that we can do to help, be a resource, or add value to what you do and your business every day, give us a call. Again, my name is Hope, and my number is 346-224-1908. 346-224-1908.
I hope we see you again, Hope.
I hope I see you next week.
All right. Thanks for being with us. He is back, Shay Cotter. Shay, welcome back. He's the chairman of HAR, the Houston Association of Realtors and LPT Realty. Hey, Shay, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Super fun to have you here today. As we close the show, what are some of the other things you want people to know about HAR or anything else you're doing?
Just that this is a time in our industry where we've got a lot of options now, and we've got such an incredible opportunity to be transparent, to bring value, to really be the advocates for our community, and that's what we're here for.
That's awesome. And and when you're not in the real, you got two very important things: real estate, HAR, all those things. But when you wind down, what do you do to relax? If that happens,
drink coffee. Does that help you relax?
Get you ready for the next thing.
Sure, absolutely.
You like coffee, though?
I love coffee.
Favorite brand?
Edison Coffee Roasters in Louisville, Texas. Best roasters ever.
You like a dark roast?
I actually prefer medium.
Medium. I'm going to have to Edison brand. That's a new one on me. And if someone wants to reach you, Shay Cotter.
832-597-5384. 832-597-5384.
Thanks for being with us, Shay.
Thank you.
And now they are back. Lisa Curris and Ronnie Orman with the Real Estate Connection International. Hey, guys, welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, winding things down here. First of all, Lisa, what else should people know?
Well, I think maybe our website. How about that?
That's a good idea.
www.realestateConnectionINTL.com. www.realestateConnectionINTL.com. Standing for international.
International. And also, let's tell them your phone number, Lisa.
713-598-8868.
And I want to embellish. Also, as you help people, you're very knowledgeable about commercial and residential, so you really have an interesting insight into the whole marketplace.
Well, I do love doing residential as well. I can't lie about that. I love serving residential clients and also international clients.
That's awesome. And Ronnie?
Absolutely. Listen, Real Estate Connection, we deal with integrity. We are first and foremost, we're extremely honest with people. We meet with our customers. We're very upfront with them about everything. We take our fiduciary duties very seriously out there. And don't forget to give us a call, 281-924-0171. Again, that's 281-924-0171.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you again, Lisa.
Thank you for having us, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
And she is back, Ashley Boudreau.
Better call Boudreau.
That sounds awesome. Well, before we it looks like it's you and I turning the lights off here on the show. What else do you want people to know, Ashley?
Well, my website is ashleyboudreau.com. So you can go on there if you want a free home evaluation, you want to see some of our listings. I am on the Rockwell team and commercial group. So all of those are listed there as well. And we'd love to help you. So.
And I have a feeling the next time we see you might even have a different hat on.
I will definitely have a different hat on.
And again, this one, just for our listeners, it says, howdy, darling.
Yeah.
Darling.
469-879-1907. That's 469-879-1907.
Favorite title company?
Stewart Title, duh.
Thanks for being with us, Ashley, and thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett and all of us. That's right, all 6,500 associates at Stewart Title. We appreciate you listening, and all of us at Stewart Insurance. That's right. Feel free to go to stewart.com/radio, where you can see and hear the show and go to the show archive. So that's right, 550 shows. You can go to, let's say you want to go to 549. Just go to stewart.com/radio. Let's say you want to go to 512. Show number, that is. Stewart.com/radio. Thanks for listening. We will see you next week. And until then,